Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This year's tour is shaping up to be an epic battle between Tadej Pogačar and Jonas Vingegaard. And let's not forget Remco Evenepoel, though this weekend's Pyrenees stages will tell us just how much of a role he'll play for the overall title. Now, this was likely not what most people thought at the start of the race due to the seriousness of the injuries to Vingegaard back in April. But he stopped any chatter about his fitness by reeling in Pogačar the other day on stage 11 and then beating Tadej in the final sprint. Game on. Most folks actually had Primož Roglič in mind to battle Pogačar for the yellow jersey. Evenepoel had been injured, but his recovery has been pretty evident, especially after his time trial showing last week. Other notable positives from the week were Biniam Girmay's third stage win and his present domination in the green jersey standings. I think it would be a stretch to bet on anyone else to win that title of best sprinter as long as Girmay makes it through. His lead is 75 points going into stage 14 today. The other fun note was seeing Jasper Philipsen finally break through and win 2 stages. There was a lot of pressure on him for this, so it's good to see him get those first victories under his belt. And he's the only one who has any shot of catching Girmay for green. But this week's been a rough one for the Tour. Tons of crashes, and due to what commentators are calling street furniture, some such nonsense. These are literally 2-inch curbs and islands in the middle of the road. And the tour organizers have done a piss-poor job of having marshals out there waving flags and blowing their whistles. Too many pinch points and curvy final kilometers. It seems to me that organizers are actually getting worse at this instead of better. Will they never learn that 150 guys doing 60K per hour plus in a pack shouldn't have to worry about strips of concrete in the middle of the freaking road while they're battling for a stage win? Roglič got the worst of it in a crash at the end of stage 12 on Thursday, and he wasn't able to start on Friday. He looked pretty torn up, and it's a real shame as he was on a really good form actually, just 2 minutes back in 4th place overall, and he had a 2-minute cushion on Almeida in 5th. But the real silent killer on this tour might be COVID. Yes, that dreaded illness whose name shall not be spoken. Seriously, who's even talking about it anymore? Well, pretty much everyone at the tour except for the organizers. But if we're honest, COVID is making a summer run, and if it's hitting the tour, imagine what it's going to do at the Paris Olympics, which start in just a few weeks. See my video in the link up there for a complete guide to the Summer Games. Now, there have been 13 withdrawals from the tour in just the past 3 days. Roglič in 4th with that injury, but the top 10-15 took a real hit, losing him to injury. We lost Juan Ayuso, who was in 9th to COVID. Pello Bilbao, 15th, also due to COVID. Apparently, the Bahrain Victorious team has been the hardest hit, though withdrawals wouldn't support that. But Mark Cavendish was doing an interview the other morning and blasting teams for hiding the illness and stating pretty matter-of-factly that lots of riders are continuing on even though they have COVID. Now, this tells us a few things. For one, the organizers don't really seem to care. 2, maybe COVID isn't the scary thing it was a few years back. We've all had it. Very few deaths can be attributed to it anymore, and more generally, people seem to really want to move past it as a thing. But in all honesty, if it's going around the peloton, it's going to cause performance breaks. I would hate to see more withdrawals or crashes due to riders being weak and sick, but staying in for whatever reasons. Nobody wants to see the final stage time trial with 12 guys in Monte Carlo a week from tomorrow. It likely won't come to that for any number of reasons, so let's focus on the good stuff. The tour is going to get really hard starting today. Today is stage 14 and brings the Pyrenees and the Col de Tourmalet. There will be 2 HC climbs and 4,000 meters of climbing. Tomorrow on stage 15th, we have an even longer stage at 193 kilometers and 4,800 meters of climbing. What a brutal weekend. The only saving grace for the riders is that the extreme heat is expected to stay away. Temperatures in Po are only going to be about 24 today and 29 tomorrow, and that's the nearest weather station I found to the Pyrenees stages. So, whoever survives this torturous weekend will likely be the favorite. But let's not forget that final week has some really tough stages, especially stages 19 and 20, where there will be over 4,000 meters of climbing per day. And the final stage time trial is a tough one with a Cat 2 climb in it as well. I think it's 8K at 5.5%. So if the leaders are close at that point, that time trial is going to be super exciting to watch. All right, predictions. I think Pogačar and Vingegaard will still be 1-2 by the end, but I'm expecting some wildcard action. Felix Gall of Austria has moved up to 10th overall, and he was amazing in the mountains last year with the victory in the Queen Stage in the Alps and finishing 8th overall. Tom Pidcock has been very quiet this tour. I wonder if all the mountain biking hurt his prep leading up to the tour. All right, screeching tires, breaking news. Here I am, best laid plans, writing about how much I like Tom Pidcock and how he's going to, make a big move in the last week. And not 5 minutes ago, while I'm finishing up the video, Tom Pidcock has withdrawn from the Tour de France. Will not start today's 14th stage, which is just underway. He's out, and it's COVID. So, unfortunately, my clickbait kind of thumbnail needs to be updated, which you will know by now, to include a nice fat picture of Tom Pidcock withdrawing from the Tour de France as the Ineos Grenadiers fear a COVID-19 outbreak, and he has been taken out of the race. He's disappointed, but he's experiencing symptoms, and Ineos has removed him. So to finish up the video, yes, COVID is becoming more and more of a problem. We knew it was a bit of a problem, but it's becoming a bigger one now, as several favorites and some people like Pidcock, who expected to do well at the end here, are now out. So stay tuned. We'll catch up with you on the off day Monday to recap what the weekend brought. But here we are, Saturday morning, stage 14 just starting, and COVID is starting to become the talk of the tour. See you next time.